So, thank you each for joining. Today is July the 14th, and we are preparing to get closer and closer to signing up for the FSOT. I want to say it's August the 22nd is when the applications open, but also the what's it Pearson, the actual testing website is going to allow us to actually register for the FSOT. First thing we're going to need, of course, with doing the application is our personal narratives. Last few weeks, we've been going deeper into uh, how do we handle situational awareness? What is situational awareness? Actually writing about these situations and recapping it live events. We had a pretty fun experience, which was also, I want to say, yep, it was also recorded, where we actually created uh, a scenario, a diplomatic scenario with public diplomacy, but also a consulate scenario, and we were able to recap like a live role play of what happened. So being able to be in the moment, be fully present, and be able to, at that very moment, be able to recall and write and create a personal narrative. The biggest challenge for a lot of us is that being able to write in 1,300 characters is tough. Unless you're like a professional Twitter or X writer, um, and that I want to say is maybe 60 characters or somewhere around there, but it's kind of hard to fully limit yourself, especially when it comes to situations where you had a personal connection with, or where you were there, you professionally impacted the scenario, or you witnessed it. And today we're going to work on that with the STAR method, and also actually developing a real personal narrative here today. So this past Sunday, in study session for you, the fellow future diplomats, we actually worked on personal narratives. We showed personal narratives that were approved and actually were accomplished to allow someone to be selected and hired and be invited to A100 last year. So, and also in 2021, so we had those examples. This time around, we're actually going to go ahead and write a personal narrative. So, the perspectives or the lens, as I like to say, that we're writing them from is managerial skills, intellectual skills, substantive knowledge, leadership skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills, if I didn't say that already, and being able to, through each of these windows or lens, being able to write about our personal experiences or our professional experiences as we have relating to these skills. Good thing is, everyone who is looking to become a diplomat, a U.S. diplomat, has some version of these skills: leadership, interpersonal, communication, management, intellectual, and just general knowledge of how to encapsulate an experience. Today, I'm going to help, and this is more of a brainstorming session. We're going to write, but we're also going to stimulate your thinking. So your goal today, your homework today, well, your work today is to open up either a Word doc or a Google doc, or if you have a blank sheet of paper, you can use that. I give you 30 seconds to get one of those open, and while you're doing that, I'm going to work through some questions to help stimulate your thinking for what your scenarios and what your personal narratives can be about. As you are getting those things out, I am recording my screen, so if anyone is able to go back and actually see what I'm doing, but either way, I'm going to be narrating and hopefully paint a picture so that I'm giving clear instructions. But if anyone needs to share the recording with anyone, it will be posted in both groups in every group that we're in. So last week, and so if you want to do this, you can. If you have a really great memory, you can use your own resources, of course. But something that really helped me get to a point of getting the juices flowing, or getting the creative juices flowing when it came to writing personal narratives, is actually thinking, what in the world have I done? And I think it was a little difficult initially to think about it. I think a lot of people have a hard time thinking about themselves, although we love to talk about ourselves, but actually thinking about our accomplishments and those types of things. And it's a little difficult, especially if we as future diplomats love to serve, and we serve our country, we serve our communities. No matter if you're serving your family, whatever the case is it can be a little difficult thinking about yourself. So I created an exercise to help. Something I've done, and you will see on the replay of this, I've actually taken my resume, my own personal resume, or my professional resume, and although my professional resume is going to reflect only my professional experience, I want to be clear that if you have personal experiences that are outside of your professional experiences, those will also be approved. So if you can show ways that you have shown leadership in your community, in your home, in your job, in these calls, what they're really looking for is, how do you communicate? Can you speak well or write well to convey a message? The Foreign Service use different channels to communicate, and that's through oral presentation, oral communication, of course, writing in the form of cables, reports, action memos, background memos, briefs, etc. So there's plenty of opportunity to actually write, and you don't have to be a professional writer. I have 5 books published on Amazon, and I promise you, I still have a challenge every single time I write. I struggle to this day sometimes on what I'm going to write about, or how I'm going to write. I purposely removed my Grammarly plug-in and account off my screen and off my devices, so it would actually force me to think real time. How do I spell this? How do I think that? Because spelling and grammar checks, they've helped us over the years, but me personally, speaking from my own experiences, is also kind of hurt me a bit. So I've relied on that technology to correct me, and then I realized after writing without it, oh my gosh, do I know how to put together a sentence? So that's what we're going to do today. So I've taken my resume, and I'm mainly going to be using my professional experiences, but again, you can also use your personal experiences. I'm taking my resume, and I'm going to actually break down what I've done at each place I've gone. So just to kind of help think, because you're probably wondering, well, why do I need my resume for this? So in real time, for your personal narratives and your assessment, mainly your personal narratives, you are going to have the ability to submit them, so you don't have to write them on site. But I would just still be prepared. You can have them already prepared and submit them. You will have with the Pearson testing software, they're gonna want to see everything. They want to see your desk. They want to see, and your desk has to be clean, no notes or anything of the sort. Of course, you're going to be submitting them with your application before you even get to the test. But it's good just to make sure that you're fully prepared ahead of time. But aside from the personal narratives, you will still have an essay as a part of your FSOT, of your Foreign Service Officer test. So this is also going to help you boost your confidence with writing real time when you get to those essays. And instead of challenging yourself to think in a critical time when you don't have that much time, this workshop today is going to help go ahead and prepare you to know what you can and cannot write about, and what you have confident knowledge in, and where you may not be as confident, or be able to acknowledge and identify where you may not be as confident in. So with the essays and also the personal narratives, you're going to be talking about your experiences when it comes to scenarios when you had to communicate, scenarios when you had to lead, scenarios when you use your management skills, scenarios when you were able to provide critical thinking and analysis through intellectual skills, scenarios where you were working with people, professionals, so your interpersonal skills, persuasion, negotiation, workplace perceptiveness, adaptability, presentation skills. If you do not have a foreign language, it's okay with communication skills. There's other ways to illustrate that. So written communication, oral communication, active listening, active writing, public outreach. There's so many ways to encapsulate your entire experience there. But on that sheet of paper, and I'm going to be doing this with you, so although I've done this already, but I'm still challenging myself to pull my experiences out. I would like for you to, in your, you can use your resume, or just if you have great memory, great. On your resume, I would like for you, also your blank sheet of paper, I would like for you to look at each place you've worked here in the last 10 years at minimum. And at each place, think about projects that you've worked, projects that you've led, and you don't have to be a project manager or project coordinator to work on projects. You can work in retail, or in healthcare, or in a restaurant, or you can be a lawyer. There's so many different ways that you can kind of put together a moment in your professional history or your personal history where you started and you concluded a finished product, or a finished situation to improve something or correct something, or whatever the case is, to complete something. So here is the time right now is 7:17 at 7:17 in Eastern Standard Time. In, let's say, 15 minutes, we will come back, and so this is your opportunity now to brainstorm, write out every job you've had, every project you've had, every community event that you've done where you either initiated, you helped, you supported, you changed, you innovated, and through the lens of leadership, people skills, and personal skills, communication, management skills, intellectual skills. So right now we just brainstorm, we're just writing those down. So you'll have plenty. You'll have at least 15, hopefully, different items over the last 10 years that you've actually done where you had your fingerprint on something, and either it was forever changed, or it was improved, or that company, that organization, that team, they were able to say that Ruben did this. I remember when Ruben brought this up. Or Enrique. I remember when Enrique saw a problem and it was an opportunity to fix it. Nicole led this team. We were at A and we ended up at Z, or even at G by the time we were done. But we were better than how we started. Acacia. You were able to fix a problem or identify a problem. Can't reach 15, obviously, it's okay. So it's like 1 a minute kind of thing. But the goal is to at least get 1 or 2 or 3 course, you can do this in your personal time as far as going through and thinking like, well, what did I do here? And do me a favor. It's only six of us. If y'all would like to come off mute, awesome. I would like to try and get your feedback on something. Does it distract you if I'm talking to you while you're brainstorming? Okay, perfect. I want to make it feel like it's, yeah, you too. I want to make it seem like we're kind of sitting across the desk from each other, you know? I'm in front of my computer, you're in front of yours. Oh, that's a good one. I remember I was working for this staffing agency. I had zero recruiting experience, but I knew people well at the time. And we only had like 50 people that were on site at this location that I was responsible for. And after going through each department and learning about what their needs were, like sitting down with the leaders, I was able to increase that site from 50 temp workers to 256 temp workers, and that benefited my job, which was Kelly Services at the time, and we were able to turn that into a $1 million account. So in a sense, I created jobs for my community. I can write about that for my own personal narrative. Okay, 1,300 characters. Let's go. A little structure to help you think or write. Um, I'm gonna paste. Yeah, no, you're right. No, yeah. No, you can't see my screen, but I am pasting in the group. So you should be able to see that I just pasted the star L method, the framework for writing. Let me know if you see it. Just give me a thumbs up on the. You do? Okay. Does anyone not see it? I'm just gonna post it in every group that I'm in. California, Midwest, General F side. Okay, Texas. Yeah, actually, I think I started Monday, this past Monday. I'm in that too. Yeah. Are you in it too? You should. I think you should. Yeah, it is. I've been using it for about 3 months now as my primary way of studying. I just completed all of the material this past week, so I am going to do the challenge, which is why I'm also focusing on doing this personal narrative session today. But Y'all gonna be moving on to the FSOT study books soon, starting tomorrow. But yeah, definitely do it and let me know what you think. It's like $15 for sure. We have 8 more minutes. 1,300 characters. Think about the situation, set the scene by describing the context or the background of your story. Think about the task, outline the actual challenge or the problem that you faced. This highlights the purpose and goal of your story. I don't know if you ever heard someone speak and in your mind you're kind of rushing them, like, get to the point of the story. This is how you go ahead and set that tone ahead of time. Then think about your action. What steps did you take? And what were the results? And what did you learn? STA. All right. I'm gonna take the next 5 minutes to not speak and write. right, 4 more minutes. And these should be no more than about 2 or 3 paragraphs. So if anyone wants to share, that'd be great. Okay, not a problem. No pressure at all. All right, 30 more seconds. Okay, finishing my sentence here. Trust with the customer and in favor with workers. Okay, not done exactly, but going through the STAR method: situation, task, action, result, and learning. I am at the result stage, um, and this is the third paragraph here. So the result where more jobs were created, the contract was extended, and the All right. I see that again without my spell check, there's still some ways I can improve it, but I'll do that later. This is just me taking a stab at um, and I know I didn't like suggest a prompt, but the initial goal, just as a reminder, was to list out as many projects that you may have started, just in a matter of a few words or a sentence at every place you've worked, every community you served in, even with your family. And I just went on ahead and took it upon myself to take one of those scenarios and create a personal narrative around it. This personal narrative would probably fit the stage of, let's say, leadership, interpersonal skills, which the goal is for it to be completely focused on each one, leadership or interpersonal skills or communication or management. But I think it's kind of hard, me personally, but that's something I'm working on, to provide a story that only involves that. This personal narrative that I just created just now, based on being able to write out as many projects from the jobs or initiatives or items from the jobs that I worked, which is probably no more than about two or three per. So I mean, it's fairly quick to do that. Just so happened, this is one that stood out to me. So this one involves leadership, interpersonal skills, communication skills, management skills. Maybe not so much, well, maybe intellectual skills as well. But I'm going to read it, and if anyone would like to volunteer to go next, please do feel free. In addition, if you would like to provide me any feedback from my personal narrative that I've just created, please do feel free. And we will do the same for anyone here that volunteers. So here we go. My hometown is a fact. I'm just gonna paste it as well into the groups. I know people who are not in here, they're gonna be like, what is this? They should have been here. So copy and paste. Oh, looks like Jonathan is typing in that one. I think it's pretty much just two groups. And one group has many groups inside of it. So I'm just going to post in those two. Okay. My hometown is fairly small, and mostly everyone works at 3 to 4 places, at either 3 to 4 places, that's me correcting myself, that provides job opportunities, including a tire manufacturing plant, pharmaceutical plant, and a large bank that is one of the most famous banks in America. I've always been considered a problem solver amongst my friends and work colleagues. I started working at a job that didn't have many job opportunities for many other people in my hometown, and I immediately saw ways to improve the production performance and reduce the labor costs of the plant from the staffing agency. There were a total of 50 temp workers at the site at the time, and each of them were working overtime, making more money than usual. I noticed, because I did payroll, that most temps were either staying over or coming in early for weeks at a time. I understood that in order to create more jobs for more people, that I would need to solve the company's expensive problem of paying overtime every week. I was able to sit with each department manager and understand their needs, and was able to get more people trained and hired to provide more support on the production floor. This resulted in gaining trust with the customer, gaining favor with the workers to get their friends and family job opportunities, and for the company to only pay the standard rate instead of the overtime rate. The results were that there were more jobs created, the contract was extended, and both the agency and manufacturing production facility were all in a better place. That is, I didn't actually state that I created 200 more jobs, so it resulted in 256 total jobs. That's my personal narrative, and I want to see how many characters this is. Word count. I'm just over. So it's a total of 255 words, and my characters are 1,461. It's supposed to be 1,300. So I do recognize that I can reduce the amount of characters by reducing the amount of words that I use to describe the hometown and the different jobs, and also provide more clarity on, more definitive clarity on the results. But this word count also shows me that the amount of characters excluding the spaces. So excluding the actual spaces, I'm at 1,200. 1,206 characters. But with the spaces, which is amazing that it's even that many, it resulted in 1,461. So, all right. If anyone wants to tear me apart, I welcome it. And of course, I mean that in a productive, constructive way. Don't be shy. And you can come off mute. And of course, if anyone wants to volunteer, you can volunteer yours as well. Hello, Thomas. Doing well. We are probably about 10 to 15 minutes from wrapping. We just had a brainstorming session of writing down all of our, as many projects as we could think of, with the different job opportunities that we've had over the last 10 years to help us be able to initiate thinking, critical thinking, about these personal narratives. So when we start writing, we'll have somewhat ammunition and be able to pull from these different projects very quickly mentally. This session has been recorded, so if you would like to stick around, you can definitely stick around for the next few minutes, but I will be sharing the recording at the end of the night here. Okay, no takers, but I was able to share different ways that I can improve, lower my character count, but also provide more clarity. I do feel like I kind of rambled a bit with describing my hometown as far as the types of jobs that are there. But yeah, and there's probably a few more ways I can improve it. I was just kind of writing it, in the moment, which is what we're practicing. They say perfect practice makes perfect. So I wanted to write with the pressure of being on a time limit and creating this story as I recall it. Does anyone want to share either your personal narrative, if you had time to create one, or maybe one or two different projects that you initiated at your job, and you can just provide a verbal kind of encapsulation of it, of what that project was. Acacia, Ruben. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it. That was great. That was great. Absolutely. I think the easiest thing to do is just do exactly what you did. The same thing I did. I just kind of put myself out there, and it's challenging to do so, especially when everyone is watching. But it's not it's not terribly impossible to be vulnerable enough to get some feedback from everyone. So, um, no, I definitely appreciate you for sharing because even verbally, I started picturing what you were saying in the scenario, and that is a very relatable scenario. And I can see, just like you said, maybe just a couple more details. That could have been a ready-made, packaged personal narrative, ready to be submitted. So you're not far off. You, you're not far off at all. No problem. No problem at all. If you haven't watched the video from last week, I actually did share some of the successful personal narratives that were submitted. So if you watch it and if you like to compare, I guess the structure of yours to theirs, and share your personal narrative with me, and just like send it directly to me, I'd be more than happy to read it. Awesome. Akasi, I remember you said that you didn't feel like you had enough projects to write out, um, or enough experience. Um, is did like even listening to Ruben, did anything come to mind of something that you may have done that may have supported or helped? Yeah. Hmm. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Nice. Awesome. I love it. I love it. That and those are very real stories and very real experiences. Again, last week, I actually shared those. I shared prompts that were in the FSOT, and just listen to your situation. Just if I was to on the spot as a storyteller tell your story, I would probably paint the picture of my mother has been a great mom to me and or our siblings for over X amount of years, and when it came down to her needing someone to advocate on her behalf and speak up on her behalf, and she had been doing it for us for so long, there was an opportunity for me to help her. In doing this, I was able to help her establish XYZ in a matter of time that gave her the care that she needed to have a blank, blank, blank. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of filling the blanks but just using the STAR method: situation, the task, what actions did you take, and what were the results, and reflect on the experience for learning. That's your situation is a very real situation, and I hope that you use it. Good job. Very good job. Okay, so the time right now is 54 minutes from the top of from the time we started. We're 6 minutes from the top of the hour. As always, I always want to keep my promise to you that this is an hour session. We always start 5 minutes later just to give people enough time to join. But some feedback, if you don't mind, because I don't. I mean, I somewhat do this professionally, within the human resources capacity and training capacity, but I've never been a foreign service officer. I've never been a U.S. diplomat. Um, if you don't mind, what are some things that may have worked for you today, or maybe some things that maybe could have been better for you, just so I can know how to improve for next week as we dive deeper into personal narratives. If I can get some feedback and just so I can prepare for next week, you can just come off mute. We just have a few more minutes left. You just come off mute, and it's just a few of us here, so. And I do not take silence as everything went great. So I know it's easy for people to assume that. Oh man, thank you. I appreciate you for saying that. Thank you. Does anyone have any ways I can improve for next week? Maybe should we get on video instead of audio? I appreciate that. I figure it it remains more engaging if you have to go to the chat versus just kind of watching me narrate or just like things that I have on the screen. It kind of forces you to like kind of like back in the 1940s and 50s. You just have to listen to the radio and picture it. You didn't have Netflix back then, so you just kind of have to use your imagination but also be super intentional and listen to what the teacher or instructor is saying and what your colleagues are saying. So that's kind of my method for not doing video. But if we need to, we definitely will. But I appreciate what you said, Acacia. Thank you. All of you are very positive. I appreciate it. But I consider you guys my future coworkers. So if there's if there's any other feedback, please do also tell me. You don't have to tell me offline. I can take the challenge of things too. But thank you all for attending. The time is 58 minutes after the hour. If anyone wants to hang out after and communicate anything that you may have learned over the week. If you're thinking about joining the Personal Narrative Challenge with the FSO Compass, I have experience with the Compass. It's really good. I recommend everyone get it. I don't think there's enough resources that you can have to kind of amplify yourself in this process. But yeah, I'm just gonna stop the recording now.